Formula One is going through its biggest ever rules overhaul in 2026, with very different cars, new engines, fully sustainable fuel, and a host of other changes. And it's safe to say that the changes have been divisive. Four-time world champion Max Verstappen has said the cars no longer feel F1-like, while 2025 champion Lando Norris has called them a lot of fun. So what's actually changed? Why do drivers have such different views on it? And what could it mean for the sport? Welcome to Tifo Sports by The Athletic. So probably the biggest change is the engines. There's still 1.6-litre V6 hybrids, including an internal combustion engine and a battery, but there's been a significant increase in the amount of electrical power available through the hybrid system. This has also been simplified and will become a substantial area of focus for drivers and teams this year. The previous engines used two energy sources to recharge the battery. The first was called the MGU-K. Here, MGU stands for Motor Generator Unit and K stands for Kinetic Energy. The second was the MGU-H, where H stood for heat. Together, these provided around 20% of the car's power with a maximum electrical output of 120 kilowatts. For 2026, the MGU-H has been discontinued, as it was very costly and not relevant for most road cars, while the MGU-K has become much more powerful. The electrical output has almost tripled to 350 kilowatts, and the power split will now be nearly 50-50 between the internal combustion engine and the hybrid system. And moving to a near 50-50 split between internal combustion and battery power in 2026 will significantly affect how new cars are driven and how everyone races. The key focus now will be on efficiency over a lap. Although the cars will be slower overall than the previous generation due to the reduced downforce under the new aerodynamic rules, which slows cornering. The extra battery boost, however, will make them quicker, exiting corners and reaching top speeds on the straights. And the drivers will also have an extra tool available to them this year to make use of the additional electrical energy. Overtake mode replaces DRS as the main overtaking assist, providing extra power from the battery when a car is within 1 second of another ahead. There is also boost mode, which drivers can use at any time around a lap to engage maximum battery power. This will be used to either attack or defend. But the increased power and reliance on the hybrid system means that drivers will now need to work harder than before to harvest energy and recharge the battery. They can do this by lifting off the throttle and braking to engage the MGU-K, and much of the regeneration will be automated by the engine's control unit. Other tactics include engines being set to reduce power at the end of straights to harvest energy, a process called super clipping. Drivers can also run at maximum revs, through a corner, or even drop into first gear, which has previously been a rarity on most F1 tracks, in a bid to harvest more energy by maximizing engine braking when slowing the car. It all means that the quickest way around a lap will not be to use maximum power at all times, as that would drain the battery. Drivers will now need to be tactical. After taking the first step in 2022 to introduce a 10% renewable ethanol blend, F1 has now increased to 100% sustainable fuel. It's a step towards the sport's goal to reach net zero carbon by 2030. But it's also posed challenges to the engine manufacturers and their fuel suppliers. Ben Hodgkinson, the technical director of the Red Bull Ford powertrains, told The Athletic that the reason that the new sustainable fuels are a bit tricky is that the various chemical elements have different evaporation points. This means they must ignite at a higher temperature than in the previous engines. The hope is that the technology used in the drop-in sustainable fuels, so called because they can be dropped into any internal combustion engine, can transfer to the broader automotive industry. Now, when we're talking about integration here, we essentially mean how the engine will function in tandem with the car's aerodynamics. This is going to be more critical than before because of the increased emphasis on efficiency during harvesting and subsequent battery use. New features such as active aero, flaps that open on the front and rear wings, help forge a much closer relationship between the engine and the chassis around it. Active aero reduces the energy needed to reach top speeds by automatically shedding drag on straights, while adding downforce back on for the faster cornering speeds. Battery power will be the key compensator for additional drag, and therefore loss of speed, that the teams can eliminate in their car designs. This could put the works teams, which produce their own engines rather than buying them from others, at an advantage because they know the exact dimensions of their engine. They can integrate it seamlessly into the chassis shapes without compromising the internal packaging that some customer teams, who buy their engines from other manufacturers, may face. Now, when F1 last overhauled the engine regulations in 2014, a significant split in approaches led to significant performance differences. This was the bedrock of Mercedes' streak of championships to 2021, as its MGU-H was initially much better than the system used by its rivals. A similar split through the field is unlikely in 2026 though. Not only is this the first overhaul of the hybrid rules since F1 introduced a cost cap, but the regulations have also been written to limit how much designs can vary. For instance, works teams must supply the same specification of engines to their customers, which was not the case in 2014. And although such limitations may frustrate F1 engineers who would love a blank sheet to work from, this should prevent a big disparity in performance. It should also avoid forcing manufacturers to play catch-up by spending heavily just to regain ground, which is even more difficult under a cost cap. But the tighter rules haven't stopped teams from finding innovative ways to maximize performance. Mercedes has reportedly found a loophole in the engine compression ratio rules that has sparked questions from rival teams, as it's believed that what they're doing could provide an engine power increase. Now, the 2026 season is a big reset for F1. 22 to 25 was all about aero, via the ground effect principle. But when it comes to defining this new era, the engines will be critical. So much work has gone into producing the new engines, this again puts their performance in the spotlight after years of relative parity. But the fact that drivers will need to change their approaches as well and become smarter in their use and recovery of battery energy makes this a shift that will be felt all the more sharply in the cockpit.
If you like this video, please consider subscribing to the channel. The Athletic is home to the best team of sports writers, reporters, and analysts in the world, offering exclusive stories and unrivaled insight.